Computer. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Today's webinar on our P2PAgri's integration with Xero. We're pretty excited about that, and we've been getting some really good feedback from it. What I thought I'd do is I'll share with you a login, so you'll be seeing me playing around with P2PAgri, and I'll just demonstrate where we've got our integration with Xero and how you go about pulling that sort of data in, and just some of the capabilities we have in the cash flow now. And then that might go for about a quarter of an hour, and then I'll just pause for questions. Does that sound reasonable? Great. What I might do is I'm just sharing my screen with you. Now, I can see you there, Scott. Can you see, looks like a Mallee farm below us? Yeah, okay, great. Now, for those who haven't seen P2PAgri for a while, I just want to let you know how it works. You're clicking on the menus on the left-hand side, and you can see me clicking there. There is a timeline, and there is a lot of help on the platform now. If you find yourself in different parts of the program and you want a bit of a hand, you click the little help icon on the bottom right, and you can see to the right of the screen comes up with some text, and you can click on the titles, headings, and there's probably 2 to 6 minute videos saying, oh, okay, if you find yourself here, it might be questions about how to draw a paddock. So it talks you through how to draw a paddock and those sort of things. So we've strengthened that quite a bit in the last 6 months. For those who may not be familiar, Essentials in the program has really been set up to help us analyze past business performance of your clients or you as a farmer from your tax returns. So if we look at the dashboard, it's looking at the financial year up the top, and we can look in if we've got data in any of the years in Essentials. I'll just click. So if we've got data in 2014, we can see what the profit was that year, what assets they were managing, liabilities, and some of the ratios of performance for that year. And we can also then, once we've got a number of years of data, we can look at profitability, expenses, trends, asset trends, liability trends, and the trends of equity and things like that. Now, at the moment, when we first released P2PAgri, you could put all this data in manually from tax returns. But now all we have to be, if you've got a client or you're a farmer using Xero and you have past years of data, you can now import the trial balance from Xero. So simply do that. You'd be in Essentials, be in the dashboard, be in the year that you'd like to be pulling in data from Xero, then click Import from Xero, and it'll ask me to connect to Xero. So presumably if the accountants in the room have got permission, you then select from those organizations that you have permission to pull data from as to the data coming in. So I'll select that, allow access. Now the next thing it's going to ask me to do is to put in oh no, is it connecting without? Okay, so it's now pulling in data now. I'm sorry, this is not good. This farm I've pulled in wasn't using Xero in 2016, so there's no Xero to pull in. Perhaps if I click on 2020, it'll go back. No, why isn't there Xero data for, oh, no, okay, I don't seem to. So I'm going to disconnect from that farm and connect to another one. And just see if we've got some data. Allow access. Okay, so you can see there's data now come in from that farm's Xero files. How it works in P2PAgri is you get one screen to go in and review the data. You can edit the data. You can say, I want to ignore that data and not bring that piece of data in. You can actually edit the data, say, no, I want another $1,000 to be added to that figure. You scroll down, go through the income, go through the expenses. There's also assets and liabilities. It's pulled in from Xero. Now, as accountants in the room will know, some of the assets that are coming in are ATO related assets, and we're doing management balance sheets here. So we've been encouraging you to put in the land values of market rate, livestock values at market rate, and also machinery values at market rate, rather than the depreciated rate in machinery. You can edit it in this screen, or you can edit it in the next screen. So you can go save, and it pulls it into P2PAgri, into the screens that you've already are familiar with, and it'll pull the income in, it'll pull the expenses in. It has a go at guessing whether those expenses are overhead, variable cost, depreciation, or finance costs. And if you're pulling a number of years in, if you adjust it for this year and then pull in the next oldest year, P2PAgri will remember what those account categories are and adjust them to variable cost and depreciation and those sort of things. So effectively, if you're doing this with a new client, there's no reason why you couldn't be able to pull in 3 or 4 years of Xero data from the trial balance, manipulate the asset values, make sure that the other values are sort of market rate, and then you can produce the similar sort of dashboard trends that I showed you for this business. So then you can see where the strengths and weaknesses of the business are quite easily. So that's essentials. But I suspect a lot of you here are looking at now our ability to monitor cash flow. So in season, if we click into cash flow, those people are familiar with P2PAgri. If you've put in data from dashboard up to financials, well, then we have the ability in cash flow to do a planned cash flow. So if I click into feed barley, this is the planned cash flow for the coming year. So we can do that technically at the start of the year. And then in actual, when we've completed our income and our expenses each month as the year unfolds, then we can pull our actual data in from Xero. So how we do that, we click into actual. Again, it's import from Xero. We are already connected to this particular farm. You tell the program which month you want to bring in. You click in June, it goes away, and it pulls in income and expenditure from that month. So obviously June hasn't happened for this farm. So there is data here. So there's adjustment data and things like that. So where the Xero accounts here are the Xero accounts that are in this client's file. And what we need to do in P2PAgri is match that Xero income with an income activity in P2PAgri. So you can scroll through, because you've entered all your data into P2PAgri now already, you can scroll through and pick the items that match that up. And the idea is that we match that up. This might have been adjustment. We've put sheep adjustment, and you can see that this example, we might have had sheep adjustment and cattle adjustment. We might have only entered it as adjustment in Xero, but we can actually split it in P2PAgri by hitting the plus button, and then manually you'd have to type in the amount so it matches the amount of income that Xero has recorded. You go through the first couple of months, you'll be matching the income and expenditure. The loans will come directly from the farm. Then you click save, and it brings it into the actual part of P2PAgri. So I'll click, it's just thinking about it at the moment. So now we're into actual. If I click into feed barley, these are the actual numbers that are updated, have come in from the farm, the planning period. So this allows us then, if we click onto charts, we can see the blue line of monthly estimated planned cash flow. and the green line of the actual cash flow. So we can see whether we're ahead or behind when it comes to the overdraft. If you wanted to go in and look at specific categories to see we're ahead or behind, you just tell the P2PAgri what periods of the year you're looking at. So you can look at month by month, or you can look at the quarter, or you can look at the half. In this example, we've got up to June. So then you scroll down, it'll tell you what our planned cash flow income was for feed barley, what the actual cash flow has been up till now, and what the variation has been, both in percentage decline or increase, or absolute decline or increase. And you can actually print that out. And the other final thing I just wanted to cover is rolling cash flow. So if I click into rolling cash flow, how this works is if I click on to feed barley, you can see that these cells have been grayed out, because in this example, we've got actuals up to October, but we still have November, December, January, and February to go. If we wanted to review our cash flow in November, December, January, February, we can review our income. So if I put in, we're having a poorer season, I reckon we're only going to get 250,000 in January and 250,000 in February, not the 300,000 that we'd planned for. I hit save, and then it allows us to be, I guess, dynamic and planning within the season to get the cash flow going. So I haven't done all the items, but if I click on the chart, the numbers haven't come through yet, but when I've done all the numbers, there'll be a yellow line showing us what the new projected end of season cash position is going to be as we have hacks as coming through this season. So they're the sort of things I wanted to show you where we now have integration with Xero. We can pull this data in, and it saves a lot of data re-entry and those sort of things. So I might just pause there and see if you guys have got any questions for me. You might want to unmute yourself. I've stunned everyone, haven't I? Jack, you're a farmer. How do you feel that the ease of use of managing your cash flow will be? You just have to unmute yourself, or elect Alice to talk.
Alice would love to talk. What was the question? Sorry, Mike? I was trying to.
I was just wondering whether you had any queries or questions, and how straightforward you saw that.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's all good. Yeah, I have had a bit of a fiddle with it prior till now, but
okay.
I like the idea of the rolling thing. Actually, that's a new one that you've put in there since the course, and I think that's a good idea. That is.
Yeah, so you can start the year out, I think it's average, and then depending on how the season unfolds, you can adjust your plans midstream. And you should also be able to report, print reports out and send that off to the bank if they're requesting it and that sort of stuff as well.
Mike, when you were talking about when you pulled the actuals in, and then you said to match the income with the categories in P2P.
Yeah.
What if that income you want to allocate to a crop that was from the previous year?
That's fine, long as you've got a category for that crop. So, for example, you might be growing barley, and you might have planned to get barley income this year, but you tailed off some of the barley sales from last year. That's fine. You'll get barley income coming in. The important thing is just to match the category between what you've got on Xero and P2PAgri.
Okay.
Okay. And once you've matched it just that month, well, then next month when you do it again, P2PAgri will remember that. You won't have to rematch it at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So remember, cash flow is, about when cash comes in and when cash goes out, which is different than trying to measure your profitability.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Of course. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, good question though, Alice. Thanks for that. Ben or Bernie, how did that look for you guys? Do you guys, okay, Bernie?
Apparently Ben's making me talk, right? Yeah, no, good. I was a bit the same. I've had a bit of a play around with it as well.
Mhm.
The only thing I just wanted to clarify, so with the importing the information from Xero, because last time, like we spoke in the cash flow, it wasn't pulling through the loan repayments, it was only pulling from the P&L. So is that?
That's a really good question, Bernie.
the
I'm going to go
actuals?
back in and go into actual and just show you. I'm going to pull some data in again. And I'll just select June. So it's gone off, selected some number. Now, one of the challenges we've had, Bernie, with Xero is that they won't let us pull in anything other than profit and loss numbers. Okay, so given that, they won't allow us to pull in any loan repayments. So how we've worked around that, and if you've used P2PAgri correctly, you've already told the program what your loans are, what your loan repayments are, and what months those repayments are in the planned cash flow. So we've just pulled that data in from that month when you're pulling it in, saying, okay, this Westpac payment of 42,126, which happened to be for a header, did you actually pay that? And the idea is, yes, if we have, we don't have to touch that number. If we haven't paid it, we can always delete it before we go down and hit save and bring it into P2PAgri. Okay, so it's been a restriction that's imposed on us by Xero, but that's how we've worked around it. Does that help, Bernie? Good. Ben, have you got any queries or questions?
No, I don't think so. It all looked fairly simple and straightforward. Once the numbers are in P2PAgri, like if you accidentally imported the wrong file, for example, did it manually delete to remove, or
yeah, if you
just re-upload that month and it's going to override what's previous?
It'll override it. So if it wasn't the business of Lawson, it was something else. You think, oh, Struth, I brought the wrong client number data in here. You just go back to the correct client number, select the same month, and it'll overwrite it.
So it's easy to replace. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so that should work that way. Great. Now, Scott, this is probably a little bit of a while since you've seen the P2PAgri. What, you've got any queries or questions about that?
Yeah, I've got heaps, but nothing that I'll talk to you about it when offline, I think, because I haven't seen this since its Excel days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's changed a lot. So, okay.
Yeah.
We'll grab another Zoom session together and I'll lead you through it.
No worries. That's all good.
Good. Matt, do you have any queries or questions?
Look, you answered on the import, so it's only bringing in P&L.
That's right.
And then I suppose if you're setting it up in P2PAgri and you're integrating with Xero, your sort of chart of accounts, do you get your P2PAgri to match up with Xero, or?
We try to get you to match up as best as we can. If, for example, I don't know, you might have had income came in because we sold an old tractor, and P2PAgri, that would view that as an asset sort of shift. But in cash flow terms, you might have earned 20 grand because you sold it. You can always go back into P2PAgri. I'll show you at another time. You can enter that one-off category. It'll then appear in your cash flow and you can match it all up. Really what we've done here, Matt, is that plus button allows us to add up to 2 or 3 categories in P2PAgri that we might match with the one Xero category that comes in. So the only thing we won't know is how you're matching. So you'd have to then, distribute that $50 between those 3 categories or something like that.
Yep. And the only other one is if you're importing actuals and you've got your stock flows, which we haven't looked at today. So just matching up, keeping track of livestock numbers and how that all works.
Yeah, that's a bit harder. We do have livestock reconciliation in here where it gives us the estimate of what we're thinking we're doing this year.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, I really encourage users to come back and change those to actuals. So, you know, how many ewes did we really sell? We thought we were going to sell 150. Did we sell 150? How many? And that sort of thing. Oh, sorry, 80. And did we sell 100 prime lambs? So that'll then go through and affect our profit and loss actual calculations and those sort of things. Perhaps I can go through some more specific questions, Matt. I know you probably haven't used the platform, but that's how we use that sort of thing.
No worries. Thank you.
Good. That's not really what I wanted to cover today, guys. It's just to show you the ease of importing Xero. Basically, we're just importing data from Xero. We're not pushing any data back to Xero. So we're not, there's no risk of us polluting your client's Xero file, but we're pulling it in, and the aim in our area is to help you both. If you want to look at past performance for your client from a tax return perspective, that's what Essentials is about, and managing monthly cash flow in season, that's what cash flow is about, and that's where we import from Xero monthly to make the plan to actual much more automated. Does that sound reasonable? What, are you guys okay? I might follow you up in the next few days or so just to see whether you had any other questions and how you'd like to utilize this capability. So Bernie, all your clients now have this capability with no change of license fee or anything like that. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah, Jack.
can you hear me, Mike? This is not really related to, I'm not going to ask you now, but what I'm asking is, I have some general questions about the program since our course.
Yeah.
Can we, I don't want to ask you these now because it's just not relevant to other people, but I just, can we book in something so we can go through a few things?
No problems, Jack. I've got your details, and I'll give you a ring, work out what suits you to perhaps have a Zoom session, and we can go through those and help answer those questions. Does that sound reasonable?
Yep, great.
Great. Thanks for that. Good. Okay, well, I'll probably wrap this session up now. Ben, have I covered most of your queries that you might have had when we started?
Yeah, no, that's good.
That's good. Bernie?
Yep, all good for me. Thank you.
Scott, we might make another Zoom time too. I might get back to you and work out, we can compare calendars.
Yeah, do that, because I've got, I might even get Andrew Daly in it as well.
Okay, no problems. And Matt, have I covered all your questions?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike. Thank you.
Right. Would you like another Zoom session again some stage?
Yeah, that'd be good actually. Yeah, probably just go through it a bit.
I'll follow you up and we can organise
Way
that.
to go.
Okay.
Cool.
Great, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. This is a new experience for me to set up a webinar like this. So well done. Good to see you all. And I hope 2023 is a good year for us all, that we can get rid of floods, we can get rid of COVID. Okay, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
See you guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This number here